To Artist in Recovery. Morning, Darryl. What's up? 5:52 in the morning, West Coast time, and it's tax day on a Tuesday, the 15th of April, 2025. I heard your conspiracy theory. You tried to prove it with all the other facts going on. My question is, pal, how come we didn't have this ongoing with corporate trying to keep all the manufacturing here and the producing here all throughout the decades? Tariffs, maybe? No. Rules and regulations, laws that prevent it? From what? Antitrust? Give me a break. No, they wanted cheap labor, so they hired cheap labor across the ways. Save on their bottom line. If they happen to bring manufacturing back to our country for any and everything, we would demand higher wages for the jobs that everyone else does. Yes, correct. Because we feel we deserve it. But the others, I don't know. There have been so many news reports throughout the decades of manufacturing across the seas. How they think about it, how they feel about it. There had been stories of people coming across over here and being used for slave labor in our own towns and communities. If you want to get to America, you find a guy, promise him, pay him, get separated from your family, sent to America the rough way, and if you survived, your enslavement for a while, a long while. That's what we have. Enslavement. Of course, we can get our own local Leos to stop the local stuff, but across the seas, they've been doing that for decades. Vietnam fell back in the 70s. A lot of people took to the seas, trying to find places to survive. And we had boat people coming over here. We have descendants. Regarding manufacturing in places now, is it better in the other countries instead of America for having manufacturing? How would you like having your sodas being made by another country? Or let alone the attire that we're dealing with, or your bicycle parts being manufactured by everybody. It's cost effective for having cheap labor in other countries. They may slap other labels, but it's cheaper for them. They don't want it over here, Darryl. If they did, we would have kept the manufacturing here. The 1950s and 60s attitude, well, we can do everything, we can build everything, we have everything. This is the kind of crap that Trump was raised on. Read stories about what happened back in the late 1800s to the early 1900s. He's a manipulative bastard who still holds on to the old time glory days. And unfortunately, with the global market we've got right now, there's no way in hell that the billionaires would actually have manufacturing over here for us Americans. Union jobs, dude. They don't like unions. Bust the unions and you bust up people's power. You unionize, and guess what? You can't fight unions half the time. Oh, you can do it. You can get scab laborers. And if you happen to look at an elitism pyramid, what do you think supports these assholes? The constant fighting and bickering that we do underneath because it's not focused on them enough. Oh, we get the laws insensitive enough to beat the crap out of the lower people because we keep the lower people in line. We're talking about government systems run by the oligarchs or Plutarchs or whatever the kind of political crap name they're going to be using at this point over here. The rich get richer and we get fucked. The trickle down theory, forgot about the 80s and the Reagan shit, turned into the Bush shit. Didn't happen, did it? They kept most of the wealth and power and we had to keep fighting ourselves. Till we got a Democrat back in office and then changed the rules, regulations. They hate rules and regulations because they'd be subject under laws if they're going to be following them. Trump is the one leading the charge, saying that fuck regulations, fuck law, we're the law. We got the wealth, we got the money, we got the power, screw everybody. What do you think sometimes I kept putting out 1860 and 1776? Think about it, dude. I've been thinking about it for a long while. And now we gotta have it on our own damn home soil. China hates our tariffs, we hate theirs. Trump's doing a headlock on him, thinks he can overpower everybody. Biggest, baddest name in history books, huh? When he's demonstrating what kind of a fool and idiot he is. Like some of the people I've seen in your chat lines. Because I've seen one or two of them on mine that I keep blocking their asses off. I don't mind the negative comments half the time, but, especially when I get irritating enough, I'm like, okay, that's enough. But I need to hear the irritating because it tells me where some heads are at. If I'm going to be like Trump, seeking attention and pleading for it all the damn time, I'm no better than anybody else these days who wants their own ego built. Why do you think I don't go for monetization? Why do you think I don't plead for people to follow me? Am I happy where I am? I do what I'm doing right now as it is. I'm not subject, but I see what's going on and I report. I've seen the independents out there turning at each other, laughing at each other because of things each other's saying at each other. And it's a regular free-for-all. You don't think they're not monitored on this one? Give me a fucking break. I'm waiting for the time when they're going to be saying enough with the communications on this thing. They're going to shut us down. I'm waiting for that time. I'm not liking it. I'm becoming more and more like my cousin and her ailing husband. For decades, he's been spouting up the conspiracy theories left and right. I kept laughing at his ass. Wasn't quite sure how my cousin was dealing with this. Wasn't sure if he was right or not. I believe in America. I believed in the promises that they said. However, I also believe how weak democracy is. People don't read. And here's the other thing. If people actually read, if people actually learned stuff, schools are getting attacked left and right. Harvard, one of the bastions out there of university. You had to be the cream of the cream of the cream. You had to be the sliver of the small slivers to get into Harvard. One way or another. And these guys are willing to stand up, fiscally and financially that is, and tell the government to go fuck themselves. They're not complying. They're not comporting. I'm still waiting with dreaded anticipation how the local community colleges are going to be dealing with. Now here's how it's going to be hitting me and people that I know about hard enough. You warned about the manufacturing, the low guy in the upside down pyramid. No, it's this way. No, it's pyramid supported on the columns that we have. People kept trying to climb up on that thing and try to be the apex because they think that's everything. They got the ultimate power. I hate to tell you something. We voted in that damn shit. in our own country because we believed in Trump's bullshit. No matter how many times you and me and guys like me who kept thinking, no, Trump's bad shit. We kept trying to tell people this. They didn't want to listen. Now we got the gold in charge. The question is, what are we going to do now? If you kept thinking about impeachment, forget it. The only way I'm seeing it is if we actually had change in the House of Representatives where the Speaker is changed from a Republican to a Democrat. So the line of succession, if anything happened to the old gas bag and to the Vice President Clumsy Fingers, that's real great. Just drop the damn thing out and break the damn statue, why don't you? Oh, great, that's just Vice President for you. He does a song and dance routine on an island continent, expecting to win people over because that's his job. And he gets laughed out. He gets chased over to an American base. And you get the colonel over there, the commander of the base, saying, screw this noise. Don't follow what the president's saying. And gets herself removed. Too many things I'm seeing interconnecting with each other in my head on this one. People can laugh and scream their heads off. If they want to get biblical on this damn thing, try this one, Eric. Try this one, dude. Talking too many times to certain people. So, sorry about that. Story of Noah. God gives Noah a warning. Tell the people, build an ark, get the animals on there, save as many as you can. Few family, friends, and his family, and a lot of animals. Because of flooding in the region. Flooding in the region. Then they landed in another portion of the Middle East where they thrived and prospered. Meanwhile, the rest of the people in the area got flooded out. I don't know, did they ever survive? According to the Bible, they didn't. Who knows, they may have, without the Bible knowing about it. A lot of things happening beyond what the Bible was telling us. So there could have been survivors over the damn shit, but the people in the local area laughed their asses off at Noah for a long while. It's like the stories I kept coming across regarding that valley, a dam that breaks. Valley got warned, except for one guy says, "I'm faithful. I'm worship God. God will save me. God will save me," and then he dies in the process. God was trying to save him a few times, trying to warn him and get him out of there. No, God will save me. He expected a hand from heaven just to scoop him up, and that's what the guy expects. In reality, at this point over here, we're the hands, we're the feet, we're the physical extension. We're the ones that are doing the grunt work anyway. So which means we have to do the shit we got to do, and nobody else likes it. You know what? Tough shit. That's how we've been doing things for how many millenniums? All in the name of religion. We're trying to kill each other for that. All in the name of cultism. All in the name of this and that, and we see this shit happening. Oh, yeah. You talk about the apex, concerning about the companies. Did you study it further? You looked at the older articles at this point over here, but you really didn't study it, did you? Okay. You got the top asshole, you got the president of the company. He either voted in, or he starts the whole damn shit. Then you got the middle management happening, because you got to get the machinery working. It's down below where they keep replacing the bodies at. Think of it as an empire. Think of it as the empire. The middle managers are trying to support the top. They got power. but they can also be easily replaced. And if somebody else has got some ideas, they think it could be used, they'll be brought up into the management level. And if he's really ambitious, like an asshole like Trump, work, steal, pilfer, pillage, plunder, till he gets to the point of power. If he happens to take over, then he's got a different idea of how the empire is going to be run. But keep this in mind. Every time we keep studying empires these days, what happens to some of them anyway? Crumble city, revolution. You keep the masses ignorant enough, they don't figure the shit out, right? Wrong. Underground, dude. Underground. You don't keep track of this shit, do you? That's why I had to. I went through college 10 years and learned a hell of a lot of things, but prior to that, I was just learning a little bit more. Observing, watching, listening. Sometimes it's stuck in the head, sometimes it's not. So, what you're saying may or may not be true. And I'll tell you one more thing. If we are like those kind of empires, if companies are like that, they can just replace the lower people like crazy. You're just another hired person. You don't matter as much. But there'll always be somebody else desperate enough to want that job, to backstab, pilfer, pillage, and plunder. We got cockroaches all over the damn place. What do you think keeps working in line? As many cockroaches as they kill or find, that's their business. Exterminations. But keep the cockroaches plentiful because you'll still have demand. Yeah. Artists, you gotta think. You gotta use. You gotta be creative. You got the spark to make inspiration. You also have to have the darkness to understand what screwed up things human beings can do to each other. It's not just the light, it's the flip side of things. I've been reading about it too much in books and history courses. There was this one history professor a long time ago, Mr. Thompson, back in the days when I went to Pierce College in the late 80s. Actually, in the mid 80s on that one. He was telling us about the Victorian times and prior to that in English history, how they backstabbed each other in the royal courts. Have we had that happen in our royal courts here in America? It's bad enough when I have a king of England wanting to bring America into the Commonwealth under his thumb, or maybe reconquer us all over again. It would have been better with the economics. But what do we have fared under the British Empire and under the British seals, under the British flag, the Union Jack? If we had kept under the thumb of King George III a long time ago, would we have been better? No. No, we would have been taxed ourselves to death at that point over here. King George would not have given a shit, and neither would have Parliament. We had no choice. We told him what the hell was going on. King George III didn't listen. Declaration, Constitution, War of 1812. Just to tell British to back off already. We'll be economic, but that's about it. You don't rule us, you don't own us. And kept telling the tale to the people, but did we actually listen and believed? Show them actual artifacts. Do they think it's junk? I can tell you one time back in the 90s when the Smithsonian, or was it the 2000s, somewhere in that time period, before my family moved out of the San Fernando Valley into the Antelope Valley, California area, Smithsonian came out with their once in a lifetime opportunity of seeing things about our American history. Lincoln's hat. The Apollo spacecraft got torched. I mean, I'm trying to pay attention to a few things that happened in my lifetime that mattered a damn. And it was... I saw history in front of my eyes in the form of items, of articles, of vehicles, of outfits, of stories. I was seeing Americana in front of my face, dude. My family was watching this and seeing this. Just, we couldn't get to the Smithsonian, so they came to us on a tour. Once in a lifetime tour. We weren't going to miss that. No way in hell. We didn't want to miss that one. Which saw world history in front of us. I'm seeing world history being destroyed by those who just don't want to learn about it, or doesn't care, or doesn't want everybody else to learn and care about it. They want people to kowtow and be just as, just as brainwashed like everybody else. You kept thinking about the ruthless sum. Well, it's not just the CEOs. Or maybe it is. If we were really going against CEOs, how come we hadn't had revolutions all the while? Think about that one. Laws, rules, regulations. Yeah, sometimes made by the rich to keep us down a bit. But sooner or later, the pressure is going to get. And then it's going to explode. What happens in every damn regime? We have revolutions happen. Unless the forces are enough to quell it. That's what we're going to be seeing, isn't it? Are we going to be getting into that kind of a regime right now? I know people will be laughing their heads off. They want it. They want it. They want to see the subjugation because they want to be part of that subjugation. The reason why they keep needling. There's one guy keeps up and he's just a needler troll. He likes it. He thrives in it. He's a roach. He's a roach. And yes, China does do a lot of the manufacturing. Not just China. It's the other Southeast Asia countries. Even India does manufacturing. We get manufacturing in Central America. We have worldwide economy ruled. Maybe by the oligarchs. Yeah. We want them. We pay for them. We want the money. We have to earn it. And for some of us who actually tried to retire on disability and survive on that, we're dependent upon the kindness of strangers. That means the U.S. government system right now, which is already in shambles right now. I just say right now. Because I don't know if next month I'm going to have another rent check coming in or another. I'm waiting. With dreaded anticipation. I'm not looking forward to it. Anyway, I had to get this shit off my damn chest, dude. Yeah, you pulled out a lot of facts about 10 or 15 years ago that probably would support. Problem is, we're a dime a dozen, asshole. We're a dime a dozen. That's the problem with us. We're replaceable. You want to talk about slaves? Start seeing the movies. I was trying to read about the history concerning about slave revolts. In other countries where there was revolutions happen and people tried to vote their own rulers in and yet been declared as illegal as hell and subjugated as such. Gulag prisons. Don't get me started on that shit, dude. Don't get me started on that one. This will be a longer video than usual.